Also wanted to point out, so that's really quite small. I'd have to look back, but I reckon that's been in there. I mixed it up about, 10 days ago, maybe 14 days ago. Might have been before I had a recent operation, hernia operation. Yeah, bricklayer. Might have been before that. So anyhow, that's the first time I've used some line putty for the tuck line, for the beading line. That's matured for at least, I'll have to have a look, but it's about minimum 10 days. So matured putty, so it's line putty in there with sand and the oxide, that it just gets better and better to work with as it matures. Anyhow, so I wanted to point that out too. Anyhow, that's what it looks like after I've done the beds and the perps. Just disregard that. I'm not trying to match them up because they're different colours. The purpose of this experiment on this side today was to use sand that's been through a sieve, so fine wash sand that's been through a sieve, so to make it finer. What else is the experiment? To use half strength terracotta just to see how it looks with this sort of blend I've got going on, especially the red blues. What else? Another part of this experiment is I've been told, and you only get told stuff, you hear stuff, that you need to put the beading line on the same day as you put your stopping joint in. Yeah? Now I think this is the 5th or 6th time that I've tried to do some tuck pointing. I've done it on both ways. I've done it the same day as the stopping's gone in, and I've done it 2 or 3 days after the stopping's gone in. And this one here is like 2 or 3 weeks after the stopping. The stopping mortar is the black mortar, has gone in. So this tuck line today has gone on top of 3-week-old lime mortar, the black one. So another part of this trial experiment learning will be to see just how well it sticks after, I'll let it go off for a couple of weeks and just see how well it does stick. The one thing I haven't worked out at this stage of my learning is when to cut this with my French knife. So that's a French knife. I mentioned Duncan. He was a teacher at Holmes Glen TAFE for many years. He made this little tuck pointing knife for me. That's how you straighten up all the lines. So I have to hold my board up next to that. And that's another reason you have these boards made up. Where is it? I'm going to give this a wash. And then another reason why you put it on like that so it stays off the wall. So you don't want smearing, I'm working with red, I don't want to be smearing red oxide all over the bricks. There's little bits of evidence over here where I've got some red oxide, but just remember, I'm just learning. But these are things you need to learn. But getting back to it, so I'm going to clean that, and then I'll hold that next to my perp and cut it, and next to my bed joints, and cut along there with my French knife. But what I haven't worked out is when's the right time to do it. Is it not long after you've put it on, or is it a day after, or is it 4 hours after? I don't think you can put a time on it when you think about it, because that's appearing to dry pretty quickly. That's why I'm misting it, just to slow it down a bit, because if it dries too quick it's going to shrink. So I'm minimising the chances of it shrinking and getting hairline cracks in it. So I'm learning. It's going to be sharper on these edges. Surely it's going to be sharper on the edges because I've got finer grains of sand. I'm not going to get holes and lumps come across big. Does come from a bigger piece of sand. So this sand over here is going to have those bigger pieces sifted out of it. So I shouldn't have that problem occurring as much. But I have also learnt that tuck pointers generally buy silicon sand, and that's probably tinier than the fine wash sand, sieved fine wash sand I've got here. So I could imagine the tinier the sand particles, the easier it is to work with, and the sharper your lines will be. So I'm looking at that and I'm thinking it's not bad, but it's a lot to work on here, a lot to improve on. But then again, and you guys do this yourself, go up to some tuck pointing and just see how perfect it is, because in most cases it's not perfect. You know, it was done 120 years ago. They probably didn't have bags of really fine silicon sand to work with, so they would have had wash sand, they would have had sieves, and they would have been able to sieve their sand down. But I guarantee if you start looking around at some tuck pointing, you're going to see little things like this. Yeah, I guarantee it. Little bumps like that, little join marks like that where you've gone across and then come down a little bit too far. But it's out there. I know it is on that building that you might have seen me video on a old building near my house. Anyhow, these are all things to consider. So there's a guy named Cobrix tuck pointing. He seems to do an incredible job, and I reckon his lines would be really sharp. But that's something that's been passed down through the generations. 2 or 3 generations, I think. I'm pretty sure his father was a tuck pointer, so he'd know all the tricks and the secrets and everything. So he does some really fine stuff. Mine's not really good yet. I should be able to put that on, and you should be able to see both sides of where my tool went down there. Yeah, but it will come out okay once I cut it, if it sticks, if it's thick enough, and if it's at the right time. There's so much to learn, so much to consider. Just remember, it's a very hot day. Warm bricks, I've dampened them, but I'm up against a few challenges here being so warm. At least I've got the sun off the wall. I might pause or stop, do another video after this one, and just talk about other stuff I discover.